I'm gonna take this opportunity because I was gonna do the whole incremental science, right? Part 8. I mean part 7, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna make this an incremental science 7 because I'm gonna segue it off of the ideal because it just hit me while I was in thinking about it, and I was like, what I want to do for incremental science 7 is going to be, I mean, for number 8 will be what I start on the new board, but for 7 I'm going to leave that board blank because that's completion. 7 is completion, and I'm 7-7 this year. You know what I'm saying? Right now I'm in my 7-7. I'm walking into my 8, my 4-4. So right now I'm 7-7. It's 2023. It's a 7, and I'm 43, which is a 7. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna keep it blank because it's complete. So I'm gonna use that next one for 8. All right, sounds like a plan. And I was gonna use this illustration right now, blocking out all this other stuff. We're just gonna use this side. We're just gonna use that right there. Okay. And subsequently, what I want to talk about is staying in this meditative state. Okay. This meditative state, when you're in the when you learn to get in the meditative state, right? And you start to be familiar with it, you go to it on a daily basis, you're coming to yourself on a daily basis. Certain things are going to take place. You're going to start, and see, I had to write my notes down before I got into it. When you remain in the meditative state, you start to open and unlock and access. You start to open values in yourself that are very slight right now. Subsequently, some of the things like I was talking about earlier, like when you get the signals and they come from different places and you like, yo, all right, something told me not to do this or something told me not to do that. Those start to open up a lot more. Okay, they start to open up so much more, you don't even move. Like you be like, nah, I ain't doing that. Be like, wow, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like the feeling is gone. It's like more of an access, it's like more of a download, you know what I'm saying? And you start to unlock higher versions of that form. It starts to get more comfortable in the senses that you're not using in your everyday access. So your sound, taste, touch, smell, all that, sight, you're not using that for systematic value. So you know what happens to them? They increase. They increase as better extensions to yourself. You start to access. You start to access more feeling. Because see, we feel on the flesh. Now imagine if Divine was driving your car. Be like kind of like Fast and the Furious 10. Like they be nice with it, like you know what I'm saying. But if you got the old lady driving, y'all going by 20 miles an hour, you know what I'm saying? Like Sunday driving, like you know what I'm saying. Like, and you wonder why things don't work right. This is equivalent to them saying that we only use a certain percentage of our brain. But imagine if you was allowing divine energy to access it all, just to start turning on switches and the hydraulics, they got the bass bumping, you know what I'm saying? They got the color tint on it, you know what I'm saying? You lean, you riding, divine driving your car now. You like, yo, I ain't know my car can do all this. That's the equivalent value of staying in this meditative state. But you hear me saying a lot of times in my bills, shine the light through your particular jewel so then it illuminates what is for you. Well, this is the walk that you have to get through to get there. When you start answering these feelings that you feel within yourself, what subsequently happens is those things go through these 3 accesses. They open, they unlock, and you access more. But you can't just jump over. You know what I'm saying? You have to go through this because it's you that the light is shining through. Think about light refraction. If I held up a jewel to the light and it was clear, the light has to hit whatever's in there to refract outwards. If it's a clear, crystal clear, it'll go straight through, right? We're not crystal clear yet. We haven't made it to that point. Higher beings ain't made it to that point. The higher beings are more like the precious gems They got color to them. They shine. They glisten. The next level is crystal clear. I think it might be another level above that. Don't quote me on that. But you got to make it to crystal clear to shine your light so bright. You know what I'm saying? That you can't even see what it's shining through. That's different. See, I'm talking different. I ain't even about to go all there. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is you are so important. The battery energy that's conducted through you going up and down, up and down, up and down. It got to come out somewhere, and you got to be aware that it's in there. What you going to do with it? What you going to do with it? Let's take a pause for a minute.
2,000 years later.
So what you accessing, right, is the extended version of yourself. So ultimately, you feel like I was hitting on before, your feelings in your flesh. Like you feel certain things like the touch and all that, the warmth and ooh, you feel that in your flesh. Well, that's the baby. That's the baby feeling. Do you know what your body can feel? Do you know how far you can feel? You haven't felt to the extent yet because you haven't broke down in tears. Like, yo, what is this? You haven't did that yet. You know what I'm saying? I've had levels of emotions that can only be explained outside of me that it's emotional. But what I'm going through in this meditative state, I'm tapping in and breaking through different things. And I'm like, yo, I didn't even know that was a feeling. I didn't know that was a reality. It's crazy like that. So for me personally, I can have a conversation about this all day, but I'm not going to put this on the tube. I need to do something about that, right? I need to do something to where I can get it more deeper in conversations with y'all about, like, I don't know, somebody give me some pointers or whatever. Tell me what I can do to where I can separate the values or whatever. But right now we're going to stay on point. Anyway, because I got some deep stories, so I can't just be telling everybody, yo, they ain't for everybody. For everybody. Knockers. You know what I'm saying? But you start to access this level of feeling that it goes past the level of the normality extension. We look with our eyes, we taste with our tongue. It's been times where I be in a thought so heavy about something that tasted so good, my mouth salivates, and there's no way in the world you cannot tell me I'm not tasting that at that moment. Like, that I'm tasting that right now. Like I could actually taste it on my mouth. These are extensions. Being able to tap into the full value of what you know and what you feel. You see what I'm saying? Like even reaching past that, like the imagination of an idea. You go so deep into your imagination, you physically have value to feel that thought before it comes into fruition. Even within your flesh, like you start to meditate, and the way you feel in your flesh, you get away from the feeling of the innate. You get away from the feeling of the innate, shallow feeling of the touch or the vibe, and you expand that. And most of you feel it because you might have played it as a kid, and somebody put their hand right above your arm and just, do you feel that? Do you feel that? Remember when we was kids, you'd be like, do you feel that? Do you feel that? I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. But you felt it. You could feel the presence. We put that down because you thought that was kiddie games. That was some of the realest training you ever had in your life, but you ain't focused on that. So ultimately, that right there was letting you know that your feel was that close to your skin. You can feel right there. What if I push that out? What if I was able to meditate and expand that? That close feeling I would be able to feel to my flesh. I can feel it down a block. I can feel it 10 miles, 100 miles from here. I can feel it all the way in space. I can feel it in the earth because it's a circle, circumference. I'm pulsing it. What you gonna put in yours? I be cooking, yo. I know how to cook. I got good food skills. You know what I'm saying? Send that message out like, boom. Watch they come ring the bell. Dude, you cooking? Be like, yo, I called. Yeah, me like, yo, I was thinking about you. I know. I put it out there. Me and my homeboy of mine, Alan, we used to do this back and forth because we used to play with the meditations. You know what I'm saying? So we couldn't really get everybody to get in tune with the idea. So we would sit down and we would go back and forth with each other, you know what I'm saying? Like we would play with it, and in that energy, we would lock into that energy. Instead of using the phone, we would just keep pushing thoughts through it and see if we can collectively pick up. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird because you almost have to imagine past the value of what you think is real. Like you have to fall into this and you have to go with it. It's like if you don't go with it, you're gonna miss it. And like soon as you try to control it or like rationalize it to the reality, you miss the message. But as soon as you slip out of this, it starts getting louder. And we was playing with it, be like, yo, you was calling me? Yeah, I was calling you. Yo, you called me? Yeah, I was calling you. I was thinking about you. Da, da, da. Like we be doing that. Like we instead of us, you know what I'm saying, playing with it, we actually jump and attach to the first thought. So then we can say, was that acknowledgement? Was that you or was that me? Like we do that to make it real. Choose that with people in your family, you close with, friends or whatever that's into this energy. And y'all play with this field. Y'all play with it. And there's other practices I can show you, you know what I'm saying, that's fun. And you can start from a smaller way, you can grow it. But, you know, we're going to walk. You already know the vibes. Nah.